Even shot yet either.
Good evening. Today is Monday, January 27th, 2025. I call to order a meeting of the Brockton City Council. Would everyone please rise and join me in honoring our country by saluting our flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 1, please.
Item 1, we have the acceptance of the minutes of the December 9th, 2024 City Council meeting.
Accepted and placed on file.
Item 2, we have the acceptance of the minutes of the December 23rd, 2024 City Council meeting.
Accepted and placed on file.
Mr. President, I'd like to take the following items tonight collectively and move them tonight.
Second.
We have a motion to take this matter under a suspension of the rules and collectively.
Items 3 through 8, I believe.
Yes.
Items 3 through 8.
Correct, yeah.
Proceed on a hand vote. All in favor? Okay. Anybody opposed? It's a vote. Mr. Clark, number 3.
Item 3, we have the promotion of Fire Captain Brendan R. Weeks to the rank of Deputy Fire Chief in the Brockton Fire Department.
Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. President. Good evening, councilors. A week or so ago, Councilor Thompson and I spoke, and I thought this was such a nice idea to be able to introduce each one of, this is a big night, obviously, anytime we're hiring a class or anytime we're actually promoting and all the hard work, and whether you're starting out, burgeoning into the fire service, or whether you are actually getting promoted to a leadership position within the department. So it's a lot of hard work. I know I've heard Councilor Fowler say that a number of times, and it is so true. So it's nice to be able to bring each one of these folks up, people that I get the pleasure to work with every day and will in the future, to be able to speak about each one of them. So first tonight, you spoke of Deputy Chief Brendan Weeks, who is a 23-year veteran of the Brockton Fire Department, most recently worked on the east side as a captain over there, and now is promoted to the rank of Deputy Chief. He will take the place of Deputy Chief Williams and run the Fire Prevention Bureau, which we all know is a very pivotal part of what we do here in the city of Brockton, and making sure that everybody is safe every day. And I know we speak constantly, and he has the right focus and the right frame of mind to do this job moving forward.
Thank you, Chief, and congratulations, Deputy Chief. Thank you for your service to our city. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Item 4, we have the promotion of Fire Lieutenant Jonathan A. Roderick to the rank of Fire Captain in the Brockton Police Department.
So, Lieutenant John Roderick is a 26-year veteran of the Brockton Fire Department. He did 4 years in the Air Force prior to joining the fire department. Was over the west side for a long time on Engine Company 5, made lieutenant, is up to Engine Company 3. He will now be over the east side as a captain on the east side. John is a go-to guy in the department that we look forward to having in this higher leadership role.
Thank you.
Captain, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5, we have the promotion of Fire Lieutenant Jonathan P. Rodenbush to the rank of Fire Captain in the Brockton Fire Department.
So, Captain Rodenbush takes a role on that is I look back, and I had John when I was a training deputy in drill school. He's a 12-year veteran of this department. One of the things that's interesting, and a lot of you were there for it when we were able to put the rescue and get back to 10 companies in the city of Brockton. Then Lieutenant Rodenbush was one of the initial company officers on that truck as a lieutenant. Now he's moving up to the rank of captain, and he'll be moving down to Campello on the ladder company down the south side. But John is a four-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and we look forward to having him in this position.
Captain, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you.
Item number 6, we have the promotion of firefighter Alexander E. Sutu to the rank of Fire Lieutenant in the Brockton Fire Department.
So this is a nice one, another nice one for me. Alex was in the first class I ran as a deputy in the training division many years ago. He's a 15-year veteran of the department. He's been the senior man on the west side in Group 2 now for a number of years, and he will go to a roving position in Group 1, back where he started, right, as a firefighter in Group 1. So I look forward. Alex Alex brings a lot of, we're similar in age, that's why I can say this. He brings a breadth of knowledge from construction backgrounds and a number of different things that's going to be huge in the leadership role he's moving into.
Lieutenant, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for your service to our city.
Item 7, we have the promotion of firefighter Eric B. Westerland to the rank of Fire Lieutenant in the Brockton Fire Department.
So Lieutenant Westerland's a 21-year veteran of the department. He's been in the fire prevention working under Deputy Chief Williams for a number of years now. His father was a mentor of mine for many years, his father Paul and his uncle Bob, that I got a chance to work with. So,
Lieutenant, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for your service to our city.
Item 8, we have the promotion of firefighter Joseph M. Coleman to the rank of Fire Lieutenant in the Brockton Fire Department.
So Joe's another guy that's been around a while, works down at Campello. He'll be moving into a roving position as well. Now Lieutenant Coleman has a wide knowledge of technical rescue and a number of things, and has advised the department over the years from his position as a firefighter. I think that's one of the greatest things we have in this department. It doesn't matter if you're the chief of department or a newer person. We want to use your talents. And Joe was one of the pioneering people on the Plymouth County Technical Rescue Team that services a number of communities throughout Plymouth County. And he's been a breadth of knowledge for many years in the area of technical rescue, and has been a great assistance to this department building up our stocks.
Lieutenant, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We have a motion to... the question comes on confirmation by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Azak.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
10 in the affirmative.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion for reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail.
Second.
We have a motion for reconsideration in hopes that it does not prevail. All in favor of reconsideration? All those opposed? The motion fails.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We're going to take a brief recess. All right, we're back in session. Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 9, please.
Item number 9, we have a hearing on the petition of Eddie Awan of 25 Cypress Drive, Brockton, Mass. for a motor vehicle repair license transfer located at 515 North Main Street, Unit 5, Brockton, Mass. In City Clerk's office, November 13th, 2024. Hearing assigned for January 13th, 2025. Fire Department has no objections. All paperwork is on file. This hearing was postponed from City Council meeting on January 13th, 2025.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is the petitioner present? If so, please come forward and give your name and address to the clerk.
Eddie Awan, 25 Cypress Drive, Brockton, Mass.
If you have anything to say, sir, on the license?
Just here to hopefully get a repair license at 515 North Main Street. I'm opening up undercoating company. It's called Polar Rust Proofing and Prevention, and I'm here today. So I have other businesses, and this is just another one.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, we have anything? Mr. Lally, this is your ward?
We've
Oh, we've got to go through the hearing. I apologize. Yep.
That's all right.
Is there anyone else here in favor? If not, I declare that portion closed. Is there anyone here in opposition? Seeing no one, I declare that portion of the hearing closed.
Mr. President?
Councilor Lally.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just say that in between this the last meeting and this meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Awan as well as representatives from the building department, law department, and the city clerk. This was, I think, the first time this kind of group was assembled to discuss with an applicant prior to a meeting. I would say that we all found it productive, and I think it would be a very good idea for other councilors to follow in the future. It allowed us to really get to the bottom of quite a lot of things. So I have the following stipulations. That 5 cars would be allowed outside during the day, no cars allowed outside at night. Hours of operation would be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, no operation on Sunday. No storage outside, and no outside repair. Additionally, the standard language of requiring the approval of the fire department stands, and I would push a little further than that. From our discussion, we also spoke about Deputy Chief Weeks was present, and this is obviously pending on Deputy Chief Weeks' sign-off and the proper space being left for any fire apparatus that needs to get in to resolve any fire in the
Correct.
building.
And he did come out, I think it was the next day.
Yes.
And we talked about all that, and I was in favor of everything that we spoke about.
Nope. So those are the stipulations. I would also note, both for Mr. A1, I know we discussed it, but my colleagues as well, this property has been a problem in the past. Mr. A1 is committed to doing what he can to resolve that, and one of the biggest steps we can take is turning around a license like this one into a better stipulated, better protected license, and making sure code enforcement stays on top of it. And from that meeting, we do have code enforcement's commitment. So with these stipulations at this time, I would be comfortable awarding this license, but I would note, and I would hope my colleagues would agree, that for this license and for all others in the city, we be a little more active and a little more responsive when we have trouble. And if need be, there's some licenses in this city that have to be taken away. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. A1, you heard the stipulations, and you understand those stipulations, and you agree to enter into those stipulations. Is that correct?
I do, and yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the question comes on granting the the MVR license by hand vote. All in favor? Anyone opposed? The license is granted. Congratulations and good luck, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great night.
Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 10, please.
Item number 10, we have a public hearing on the ordinance, an ordinance to adopt a new section of the zoning ordinance to establish the MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District to allow multifamily housing as of right in accordance with Section 3A of the Zoning Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and give your name and address to the clerk. Seeing none?
We had, if you could, Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
we
Clerk.
had nobody sign up, but I did receive an email from one person who wanted the,
Please read it into the record.
my apologies for not being present. I am currently under the weather. Please read my statement for the record. Councilors, the governor has issued an extension for compliance to the MBTA zoning. You have an opportunity to get it right the first time. The stopgap was provided only as a last resort to the deadline. Stopgap, at the very least, will be confusing and problematic. It presents numerous short-sighted advantages with long-lasting consequences. This extension affords the council time to act on the form-based zoning. I beseech you, therefore, to commit the time needed to the form-based zoning. This is an opportunity for the city to move forward with the requirements of the governor and the desires of the residents blended into beneficial future for all of Plymouth County. Concerned citizen V. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and thank you, Mr. Stevens, for your comment. Is there anyone else here in favor? Yeah, Director, if you would like to speak on the matter, please do so.
Hi, I'm Rob May. I'm Director of Planning and Economic Development. I just wanted to say on the record that our department is in favor of this, and we'll hope that you vote in the affirmative this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Is there anyone else here in favor? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Is there anyone here in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed.
That's all we have. This is a public hearing, so there's no vote on this. So we now will go to
Agenda item number 11, please.
Item 11, an ordinance pursuant to Section 27-5 of the City Ordinances zoning map to amend said map to designate the listed parcels as the MBTA Communities Overlay District.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and give your name and address to the clerk. Mr. Director, would you like to speak again? Please do so.
Almost got out. Hey, Rob May, Director of Planning, and we've spent a lot of time on this, and we will hope that you'll approve these map amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Is there anyone else here in favor? If so, please come forward. Good evening, sir. If you could please give your name and address to the clerk.
Jerson Barrows, 70 Bank Street, Brockton, Mass. 02302.
Please go ahead. What do you have to say?
I just want to see if there's an opportunity for every single one of you guys to support this ADU project, and also to see if there's an alternative for homeowners that have larger properties. If there's a way that they can, if there's a way that, for instance, if they have a larger property, if they want to subdivide that property, rather than restricting them for ADUs
Actually,
only.
Mr. I think he's speaking on the next one.
Oh, it's the next
You
one.
want to talk on the
ADUs.
The
ADU?
ADU. This is on just as adjusting the zoning map. You can
okay.
stay there because we'll be doing it in about 30 seconds, but I don't believe he's speaking on this issue.
Right. So what we're doing is the first hearing was on the zoning ordinance itself. This second hearing is on the zoning map. So those are the parcels on which we would be changing the zone to. So is there anyone here in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 11, please.
That was 11. Now we're on item number 12. We have a public hearing on the ordinance, an ordinance amending the city's zoning ordinances to regulate and permit accessory dwelling units by right in the R1 district for single-family lots. Now you can open that hearing.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please give your name and address to the clerk. Good evening again, sir. Please, if you could just
I'm sorry
name
about
and
that.
address it again.
Yeah, of course. So my idea is just to see if the homeowners that have larger properties, if there's the room for them to instead just put in ADUs there, because now they can do it by right. I'm not talking about in the backyard. I'm talking about the people, the homeowners that have a larger property where they can propose it a 50, 60 frontage or maybe 70 frontage. If there's a room, they can just go to planning board and just ask for a special permit. If they can do that, rather than get all this petitioning and go through the ZBA and deal with all, and just literally spending money, try to get a variance from a ZBA. Thank you.
Have you received the ADU ordinance? Have you been able to read that
them
ordinance?
online. I read the ones that they posted online on mass.gov. That's the one that I read.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in favor? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Is there anyone in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 13, please.
Item 13, we have the report of the Ordinance Committee for its meeting of January 8th, 2025.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have a communication from the Fire Chief recommending the promotions, and I'll read these collectively, of Captain Brendan R. Weeks, of Lieutenant Jonathan Roderick, of Lieutenant Jonathan Rodenbush, promotion of Firefighter Alexander E. Soto, Firefighter Eric B. Westerland, and Firefighter Joseph M. Coleman to the new positions.
All matters are accepted and placed on file.
Communications from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the fire chief requesting a transfer of $800,000 and 0 cents from the educational incentive and $400,000 and 0 cents from shift differential, for a total of $1,200,000 and 0 cents to the regular overtime account to maintain all companies through the remainder of fiscal year.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, recommending that the city council authorize a transfer of $30,000. This transfer will fund the funeral and burial expenses for Captain Stephen Montero and firefighter Jeffrey Albanese.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, recommending an intermunicipal agreement between the city of Brockton and the town of Easton for the treatment of wastewater. This intermunicipal agreement will allow the town of Easton to use the city's wastewater treatment facilities and will in turn bring in an initial $900,000 in revenue to the city with annual payments based on volume.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, recommending that the city council authorize a transfer of $6 million. These funds will support the Brockton Public Schools transportation costs for the remainder of the fiscal year.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, recommending the approval of the Brockton Public Schools entering into a memorandum of understanding with the Mass Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. This agreement will allow the city to receive up to $32,000 from the Commonwealth through the Every Student Succeeds Act.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
We have an ordinance to adopt a new section of the zoning ordinance to establish the MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District to allow multifamily housing as of right in accordance with Section 3A of the Zoning Act of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, in City Council, November 12, 2024. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable as amended. In City Council, January 13, 2025. Passed through a third reading as amended by a hand vote.
Councilors, the question is on ordination as amended by a roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Azak?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Griffin?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nacastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
10 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained as amended.
Item 38, an ordinance pursuant to Section 27-5 of the City Ordinances zoning map to amend said map to designate the listed parcels as the MBTA Communities Overlay District in City Council, November 12, 2024. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, January 13, 2025. Passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
The question is on ordination by a roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Azak?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Griffin?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nacastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
10 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained.
Item 39, we have an ordinance amending the city's zoning ordinances to regulate and permit accessory dwelling units by right in the R1 district for single-family lots. In City Council, November 25, 2024. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, January 13, 2025. Passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. President? Mr. President, I was made aware tonight by Legislative Counsel that she and an Assistant City Solicitor have several amendments that should be made to this prior to final passage. So I would move those amendments and ask that they be read into the record and then have Legislative Counsel explain them for the members. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor.
We vote on the amendment first. But we've got to read them. Yeah, we got to read them first, yeah.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the amendments?
Yes. Under the section that reads accessory dwelling units, to insert the following language, and 760 CMR 71, protected use accessory dwelling units. This ordinance shall apply to protected accessory dwelling units in the city of Brockton. To insert the following language under definitions, accessory dwelling units, at the end of the definition to state that is not used as a short-term rental. To insert the following definition, bus station, a place where buses start and end their routes. To insert the following language under applicability, so that the passage reads, this ADU ordinance shall only apply to any zoning district in the city of Brockton where single-family residential dwelling units are permitted or an allowable use, striking the language, the R1 for single-family lots. To insert the following language under standards all ADU, any exterior stairs must not be visible from the public way. To insert the word rear in section 2 of standards attached ADU. To strike section 3 of the section that states standard attached ADU. To and then to just renumber sections in standards detached ADU and add the following language as a number 1, detached ADU shall conform to section 27-20-2. And then just the explanation, councilors, is we were waiting on the final regulations from the state following the public comment period that was supposed to occur in the middle of the month. We don't yet have that. The Executive Office of Housing was also supposed to supply some standard bylaws for us to review. We also don't have those. So these changes came from Stacy Birdie and I attending different trainings and reviewing of what we currently have as proposed regulations.
And councilors, the reason we're going to move forward with this tonight is because if we don't come February 1st, it's pretty much wide open on ADUs. This at least allows us to put some regulations in place prior to that time period coming, and then we'll most likely have to readdress this when those bylaws from the state finally come out. So.
And then just substantively, what this does is it allows accessory dwelling units, whether they be attached or detached, to the primary dwelling to be allowed wherever single-family residential dwellings are permitted as allowed uses in Brockton. And then it just provides some requirements for those accessory dwelling units.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. There's been a motion to amend that's been properly seconded. All those in favor of the amendment? Anyone opposed? It's a vote. And now the question comes on ordination as amended by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Azak.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
No.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
No.
8 in the affirmative, 2 in opposition.
The ordinance is ordained as amended.
Mr. President, I move reconsideration in the hope it does not prevail.
Second.
Motion for reconsideration has been made in the hopes that it does not prevail. All those in favor of reconsideration? Those opposed? Reconsideration fails.
Item 40, we have an ordinance to replace Section 12-28 towing in its entirety and to adopt a revised ordinance for towing operations in the city of Brockton relative to the towing list, qualification, requirements, and assignments. In City Council, October 15th, 2024. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, January 13th, 2025. Passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
Mr. President,
Councilor Azak.
I'd like to motion to postpone this item until the next city council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion to postpone this agenda item until the next city council meeting. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? This motion is postponed till the next city council meeting.
Item 41, we have an ordinance to replace Chapter 11, Article 3, dealers in secondhand precious metals or gems, and to adopt a revised ordinance for dealers in secondhand precious metals or gems in the city of Brockton relative to regulated property, licenses, inspections, record keeping, and regulations. In City Council, October 15th, 2024, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable as amended. In City Council, January 13th, 2025, passed to a third reading as amended by a hand vote.
The question is on ordination as amended by roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
10 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained as amended. Agenda item number 42, please. Oh, sorry. Councilor Farwell.
Mr. President, this ordinance is new. It is printed on our agenda. It appears on the city agenda page, and it's 2.5 pages, some of which is quite technical, and I would move that we allow the clerk and/or legislative counsel to just read a summary of it. It will certainly come up again in the ordinance committee.
Second.
A motion to summarize has been made and properly seconded. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? We'll move forward with the summary.
Thank you, Counselor. We have an ordinance. I'll read the beginning and you can give an explanation. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows. Section 27-4, designation of zones shall include R5 as senior residential community zone. These are for senior living, and Council will explain.
Yep, so we used to have an R5 zone, which was for senior residential community zone. This would reestablish that zone and put it back in the zoning maps, and it provides for just some certain kind of permitted and uses for senior residentials in that zone.
We determine seniors as 55 and older.
Correct.
Great. This matter will be referred to ordinance. Number 43.
Item 43, ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $1,200,000 from fire educational incentive $800,000, fire shift differential $400,000, to fire, excuse me, fire overtime $1,200,000.
Councilor Lally?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to take this item under suspension of the rules and act on it tonight.
Second.
There's been a motion made to suspend the rules and act on this matter tonight. All in favor? Anyone opposed? A motion passes. We'll act on this matter tonight. Fire Chief, please, you have something to say on this matter.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to just talk about this real quickly. One of the things that I talk about on a regular basis when I come here is about the fact that everything we do in the fire service is staffing. We need fire trucks, we need fire houses, a number of different things. But the job of what we do every day doesn't get done without the brave men and women of the city of the Brockton Fire Department. In saying that, if you notice over my last 3 budgets, I've ended up having to move considerable sums from other parts of my operating budget into overtime to cover. This is not, and I think it's important, this is not to make sure people are getting overtime. This is to actually have adequate staffing. One of the things that we've seen over the my past tenure as chief, I've seen 2 collective bargaining agreements. With those collective bargaining agreements, there have been pay raises. With those pay raises, overtime raises. So we see how that all goes up the chain. As you've seen in these years, we've been able to now, I think 2 years ago it was $350,000. Then it was $450,000. Last year it was $750,000. I really don't, I think we're going to somewhat plateau in this area. Last year, I actually did put in for a substantial $1.2 million increase in my overtime budget. That obviously, with the difficulties of the city with the schools, that was obviously cut right out before it even got to you folks in the budget hearings. So you never saw that. So this really, I think even at the budget hearing, I did speak to you about the overtime when I was asked, and I said I will be coming back in the wintertime to move money from other parts of my budget to be able to get through the rest of the fiscal year. Unlike a lot of other city departments, potentially, I have one good fire on a wintry cold night like this. I could lose 3 or 4 people in injuries. That substantially affects my bottom line and my proper staffing. So that's what this overtime goes to take care of. Trust me, and I think anyone here, I think my union executive board in the back would be the first ones to tell you we do not want to do anything with overtime to try to staff apparatus. If I could walk in here and get 40 new bodies like we spoke about last week, that would be spectacular. But that's not always the case. So right now, this is the stopgap measure to get us there in the meantime. So I take any questions anyone has about this.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions? Councilor Nicastro.
Thank you. Good evening, Chief. Thank
Good
you
evening.
for being here. How did you decide that you needed $1.2 million?
I think what I've seen after the first of the year, and I project every morning what I used even in the last 24 hours, and I move through those numbers to look. Now, this is all coming from within my own budget. I'm not asking for the city for any additional funds from certified free cash or anything like that. So this is all coming from parts of my budget internally. And I just know what I need, and I know then I can look at those other line items and say, okay, I don't think we're going to get there for this amount here. I think we can maybe move some money around, and that's how that'll work. I project literally every morning in whole every Friday afternoon, see what I spent in the last week in overtime. I have an inordinate amount of people out injured right now from that whole slew of fires we had in the fall that are still getting treatment, I mean, you saw a couple of guys hobbling in here tonight, and that affects my bottom line greatly, greatly.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr.
Not a problem.
President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, actually, my question was, and I think you answered it because you said this will last you throughout the fiscal year.
I'm sorry, say that again?
That this would last you, as far as overtime, until the end of the fiscal year. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I should not be back unless something catastrophic happens.
Now, you took $800,000 out of the educational incentive.
Correct.
Now, what happens to that particular item as far as the men and women of the fire department is concerned?
So through collective bargaining, at a certain date during the year, certain members of the department, if they think they're going to get to certain levels of their education, they put in for it. Sometimes they don't get to that. So what I do is I try to wrangle up those folks to see where they are and what they've actually presented to us for credits to be able to get to those monies. I feel confident right now that will not be the case for this grouping.
So you still have some monies within your budget
Of
to
course.
deal with educational incentives?
Oh, of course, yes. There will be plenty in there to handle what will be needed for now. I'll be honest with you, I really dislike having to do it this way because now I'm moving money and it's almost like it looks like we're trying to put the cart before the horse, and that's not the case. So, but in those overtime projections that I carry through on, I do the same thing with following up, getting transcripts in for educational incentives, and I can see where people are going to be and where they're not going to be able to get to those credits by the end of the fiscal year and be able to then use that money. Although they thought they thought they were going to be able to, sometimes it doesn't pan out for them. But there is plenty in there right now to cover what we currently have, Councilor.
Yeah, we don't want anybody from the department coming in and saying, look, I just got my PhD in whatever it might be, that there's no funds to compensate them. So I just want
I'm
to
not worried about that. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Minicello.
Hi, Chief. Just following up on what Councilor Rodriguez said, is this a hard number, the 1.2?
In regards to what, Councilor? In regards to...
Do you think that's going to be...
I feel comfortable with it, yes. Each year I've come back here with the projections I've made. I've felt comfortable. I've never come back to you again through the rest of the fiscal year to ask for any more.
And you're certain that we won't be short in those other two items, the shift differential?
I do not feel as though, like I said, unless there's some catastrophic thing that goes on in the city and I lose a number of firefighters to injury, I think we're going to be okay, and I do not think we'll be short in the other ones, no.
Could you end up with spending less money, or do you think that it's going to...
I could, depends on how, I could talk, Deputy Chief Albany and I were just talking about this today. I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face. It depends how soon I get injured firefighters back. Right now, I'm carrying a large number of injured firefighters, and the current system in place is not at all advantageous to getting those folks back. I can honestly say that. There is a lot of red tape that I would be more than happy to discuss offline to get them through the process, to get them the claims adjusted correctly to pay out their doctors. So then they have to wait, and then there's another process, and they have to wait. It's not ideal at all.
Is there a way to clean up that process? Or
yes, there is, and that would be to probably move on to a different vendor or bring it back all in-house. But that's not my expertise. But I can tell you from boots on the ground, the system currently is somewhat difficult to work, to navigate.
And there is an alternative, you think, out there?
I'm not sure. I'm sure. Again, that's not, I'm your fire chief. I'm not, that's not what I see right now. I don't find to be working advantageously for probably any city department, not just my own. Us and the police, we see them, and the DPW, we see the most injuries because it's the most labor-intensive job. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure there could potentially be other vendors out there. We sign contracts with these folks citywide, so we're with them for a while. I don't know when that contract ends. For many years, we did it right in-house, and I think a city solicitor prior to the current city solicitor thought it would be much cheaper to handle this in-house. Contract it out. And I don't know if it's saving the city money. I'll tell you what it is not doing is it's actually making me spend more overtime. I did one example with the current way I spent $176,000 on overtime on one person that was out to cover. If I looked at covering one person, I was covering them for $176,000 over just over a year and a half in overtime costs because I couldn't get them through the process efficiently. It is what it is. I talk to chiefs all over the Commonwealth. This is not new to Brockton. This is not only in Brockton. Many communities are dealing with these same hurdles. And part of it's healthcare, too.
I just wonder if there's a better way. You know?
I hope there is.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Counselor. Anyone else? Seeing none, the question is on adoption by a roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nacastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
9 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilors.
Chief.
Appreciate it.
Mr. President?
Mr. President?
I'd like to...
All right, you can do it.
Oh, sorry. I'd like to make a motion for reconsideration in hopes that it does not prevail.
Second.
Motion has been made for reconsideration in the hopes that it does not prevail. All those in favor of reconsideration? Those opposed? Reconsideration fails. Thank you.
Item 44, ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $30,000 from certified free cash to fire purchase of services.
Refer to Finance.
Ordered in accordance with general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, that the City Council authorizes the mayor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement between the City of Brockton and the Town of Easton for the treatment of wastewater.
Refer to Finance.
Ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $6 million from the stabilization fund to non-net school spending.
Refer to Finance.
Ordered in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, that the City Council authorizes the collector, treasurer, or other department head with the approval of the mayor to enter into contracts to identify and pursue federal government reimbursements for or other revenues or available resources that may be generated by programs or activities being carried out by the municipality, and to provide that payments for services under such contracts may be made for the reimbursements or revenues recovered as a result of the services performed without appropriation of such revenues.
Refer to Finance.
We have a resolve to invite the Commissioner of the Department of Public Works and the Chief Financial Officer to provide an update on regional solutions to water supply, including the Aquaria Water Treatment Plant in Dayton, Mass.
Refer to Finance.
We have a resolve to invite Ward 2 City Councilor Maria Tavares, as she is also an appointed special representative of the International Diplomatic Alliance, IDA, a Missouri nonprofit corporation, and any IDA representative she wishes to appear before the Finance Committee of the Brockton City Council to discuss and present concrete examples of the work of IDA as a non-governmental organization focused on humanitarian activities with a mission to preserve and address worldwide basic needs, including health care, education, social services, citizen support, food distribution, and combating homelessness.
Refer to Finance.
We have a resolve, be it resolved by the Brockton City Council to invite Brenda Perez, Chief of Police or her designee, to appear before the Finance Committee to discuss the Brockton Police Department's strategy and planning for enforcement and implementation of the ordinance prohibiting camping on public property and the ordinance prohibiting loitering in public places.
Refer to Finance.
We have two late files before we get to the last item.
I see.
President,
Councilor Lally.
I'd like to make a motion to introduce a late file.
Second.
We have a motion to introduce a late file. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? The late file is accepted.
Just give me a minute. Yeah. Ordered that the mayor and treasurer and/or treasurer collector be authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to convey the property consisting of 4,391 square feet located and known as Plot 3 Assel Street, parcel ID 164-334, to John S. Duquette Jr. and Kelly Ann Burwell of 12 Assel, Assel Street, Brockton. for the purchase price of $2,500. Said property to be sold under the abutter lot program and be sold with a permanent non-buildable restriction. Said property shall also merge with the abutting lot of the purchaser within 6 months of purchase. The 6 months begins at the time the deed is executed. If the grantee fails to merge the premises as stated, the City of Brockton reserves the right to revert the premises back to the city ownership at no cost and for no consideration. At closing, the grantee shall execute a reverter deed to the City of Brockton, which shall be held in escrow by the city pending satisfaction of the conditions stated above. If the reverter deed has not been recorded within 9 months from the date of recording this deed, the City of Brockton's right of reverter shall be deemed to have lapsed.
This matter shall be referred to the Standing Committee on Real Estate.
And we have another, Council Tavares,
Okay.
you have a motion for a late file?
Okay, motion for late file, so.
Second.
Motion for a late file. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Matter's accepted. Mr. Clerk.
Ordered that the mayor and/or treasurer collector be authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to convey the property consisting of 3,400 square feet located and known as Plot 27-1 Huntington Street, parcel ID 095-061, to Maria Marta Tellis and Marie Andre Tellis, 43 Huntington Street, Brockton, Mass., for the purchase price of $1,800. Said property to be sold under the abutter lot program and to be sold with a permanent non-buildable restriction. Said property shall also merge with the abutting lot of the purchaser within 6 months of purchase. 6 months begins at the time the deed is executed. If the grantee fails to merge the premises as stated, the City of Brockton reserves the right to revert the premises back to the city ownership at no cost and for no consideration. At closing, the grantee shall execute a reverted deed to the City of Brockton, which shall be held in escrow by the city pending satisfaction of the conditions stated above. If the reverted deed has not been recorded within 9 months from the date of recording this deed, the City of Brockton's right of reverter shall be deemed to have lapsed.
Referred to real estate. That is the end of our late files. Councilor recognition.
Mr. President, I just have a question on the agenda, and maybe I've missed something. Item 35 was requesting approval for the schools to enter into a memorandum of understanding so that we would receive $32,000. I don't see where that was referred to a committee on subsequent pages. Now, maybe it's me, maybe I missed something, but first of all, I would almost move suspension of the rules and approve it tonight, because as time goes by, we're losing time within the school year. But could we just take a minute and check that? Because
I believe you're right, Councilor. I believe we messed that up.
That it is not also provided as an order.
It is not.
Yeah, it is not.
And let's provide it as an order and hear it in finance. We'll have the superintendent with us next week.
that's fine. We just refer it to finance. Thank you.
Have it as an order from the mayor.
And that's what I'm just going to check if we can take a brief recess. Do we have the order?
It is this order. Recess. I think it is.
While you're doing that, can I move forward with councilor recognition? Or?
Yeah.
Number 47 is that gavel. I think that's how they do it.
While you're looking at that, we'll move forward with councilor recognition. Councilor Azak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of announcements. The first one is for the Ordinance Committee. We will be meeting on Monday, March 3rd at 5:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers, right before our finance meeting.
March 3rd?
I'm sorry, February 3rd. I'm skipping ahead of my time. So next month, so it's actually next week, right before our finance meeting. There will only be one, it'll be a short agenda, but we will take care of it before the meeting. The other announcement, it's a PSA announcement to the City of Brockton. We have closed D.W. Fields Park due to some wildlife issues that may include a potential outbreak of avian flu. So we would first and foremost ask the public to please do not touch any injured or deceased birds. We ask that if you see a sick or dead bird or poultry bird, please contact Animal Control or the Board of Health. You can also go online under mass.gov, and there's information about how to deal with the situation if you do find any deceased birds. So please be safe, keep the community safe, and do not touch any wildlife, dead birds. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor, and thank you for that announcement. Councilor Lally.
Moment of council's recognition, Mr. President. I just want to announce to the members of the Accounts Committee that the Accounts Committee will be meeting this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Here in Council Chambers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors for personal recognition? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the order.
Actually, councilors, we did refer the order. The communications that came are not as clear on what the order was, but item number 47, which we did refer to finance in accordance with the general laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 44, that the City Council authorizes the collector, or treasurer, or other department head, with the approval of the mayor, to enter into contracts to identify and pursue federal government reimbursements, is the item that matches those communications. So I would say I'll have some clarification to get from the CFO and somebody from the school department, but it has to do with memorandum of understanding that they can't collect on until this is voted on, but I don't want to get too deep into what it is because I'm not, but it is item number 47, so it has been, but the communications were not, most of our communications that come from the CFO and the mayor specifically use the language that's in the order. In this case, they didn't, so that's why there's some confusion. So item 47 is the item that you're asking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Clerk, for that clarification. And as noted, that matter has been referred to finance. Councilors, we are going to move into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A1. The City Council may move to executive session. The purpose and subject of the executive session is with respect to open meeting law complaints received. Will the clerk?
Actually, we need a motion to move into executive session, please.
I'll make a motion to move into, can I hear a motion?
Second.
A motion has been made to move this matter into executive session. Will the clerk please call the roll regarding the executive session?
Isaac.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
10 in the affirmative.
Great. Motion to move into executive session is approved. At the end of executive session, the City Council will not be returning to open session, and there will be no further business of this council. Thank you and good evening.